Well, good evening, everybody. Mark Finan here in the home weather office on this Sunday evening. It's the 26th day of March 2023. I hope you've had a great weekend. It's time to look ahead for the week ahead, and we do have rain and snow on the way. So this is the evening briefing. Thank you for joining. We are going to see some rain and snow come our way starting on Tuesday and lasting into the day on Wednesday. We are going to see some pretty good rain in the valley and into the lower foothills. The trickiest part of this forecast is going to be the snow and just how low the snow level gets. And I think we have a better idea tonight about where that snow may be and how low that snow might get and just how much there may be. A lot of that depends on what the temperatures do aloft. So let's get right to that. I'm going to show you these temperatures at 5,000 feet. I always like to look at these because it gives you an idea of just how cold it is. And these temperatures at 5,000 feet, now keep in mind these are in degrees C. And so what I'm looking at here, the temperatures aloft right now are right around zero. And as we get into tomorrow, it stays pretty cold. That means we'll have another overnight low with temperatures down in the 30s in the valley, kind of like what we saw today. Now, as this next storm begins to develop, and you can see the low developing out in here, this is Monday night, and I'll go into Tuesday morning. The temperatures get warmer out ahead of it. The southwesterly flow out ahead of the storm itself brings in warmer air, so the temperatures around Sacramento, Stockton, and through the foothills go above freezing. 2 or 3 to 4 degrees Celsius, which means they're into the upper 30s to maybe as high as 40 degrees, as opposed to being below zero. That means that when the rain starts, which will happen right around this time, that the higher elevations will start with rain, let's say at 4,000 feet. But then as the colder air comes in behind the front, then we get into the colder air in the lower snow levels. This is late Tuesday night, so those temperatures have dropped quite a bit. So for those of you that live at 4,000 feet, let's say, you're going to get rain during the day Tuesday, but Tuesday night, Wednesday, it likely changes over to snow. The precipitation rates, however, at that time will be quite a bit less. So because you're going to see that rain-snow mix, or at least rain changing to snow, for those of you, let's say in Pollock Pines or Arnold or Upper Pioneer, your snow amounts are going to be lower, but you're still going to see some pretty good snow, maybe as much as 6 to 8 inches of snow, but most of that will happen during the day on Wednesday, and not so much on Tuesday, but it'll be more Tuesday night and into Wednesday. So let me get back to the temperatures aloft, because what we're going to see is that once the system goes by, and you can see the low spinning around here off the coast, is that the temperatures, even though we clear out on Thursday, this is Thursday morning, the cold air remains. And the cold air, once again, gets pushed all the way into Southern California. So we don't see anything in the way of warm weather throughout this week. Daytime highs will stay well below average today. The high temperature in Sacramento only hit 60. This week, the average high turns to 70 degrees. All right, let's get into the timing of the rain. This is Monday. Monday is completely dry. This is Monday at 5 p.m. So we're dry. We don't have anything in the way of rain. If you have outdoor plans, travel plans through the Sierra Monday, not a problem. There's the low wrapping up off the coast. A pretty deep low. It is going to deepen quite a bit here in the next 24 hours. But as we get into the rain itself, I want to point out a couple of things. This is around 11 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. It's raining around Sacramento, not quite into Modesto or Sonora just yet. And here's where the low is. Nice deep low, about 989 millibars. And what that means, and as you see the isobars stacked up here, that in here, it's very windy. But if you'll notice, once you get down into the valley, that the pressure gradient, in other words, how closely these isobars are stacked together, they weaken quite a bit. So while it'll be breezy, we may see some gusts up around 40. The issue with having a strong low is if the low is over land or close to where you are, then you'll have some very strong winds. But it doesn't look as though we are going to have very strong winds, but it'll just be breezy because, again, the strongest gradient is up here where the low is. All right, let's get into Tuesday afternoon. So after we have a band of rain that maybe gives us 5 or 6 hours of rain, it tapers off to occasional showers on Tuesday night and into Wednesday. And then the wild card for Wednesday, this is late Tuesday night, is where this next band of rain settles in. So this model, this is around midday on Wednesday, shows another band of rain up and down the valley. And that, as it stands, would give us another half an inch or 3/4 of an inch of rain. Not convinced that that part of it is going to happen. The model has gone quite back and forth quite a bit on that. Wouldn't be surprised if Wednesday it turns out to be maybe we have bands of rain as opposed to that solid area of rain we saw, but maybe embedded in those lines of rain, we have thunderstorms. I think if we're going to see thunderstorms this week, we could see maybe some on Tuesday afternoon. I think Wednesday may be the more convective day, if you will. So Wednesday's still a bit of a wild card. But if I go back to the graphic, the other thing you'll notice here is that on Wednesday we continue to get some of that snow, and it will be above 3,500 feet. It just doesn't get cold enough to give us anything significant below that. So I ballparked some numbers here for snow totals that we're thinking. At 6,000, thinking maybe we may see 2 feet of snow. At 6,000 and above, the resorts between Tuesday and Wednesday will probably see 2 feet of snow. We'll have travel issues through the Sierra on both Tuesday and Wednesday, probably starting as early as 10 or 11 o'clock on Tuesday morning. We'll be in chain controls, and we'll be in chain control all the way through the day on Wednesday. Down at 5,000 feet, maybe something in the range of 12 to 16 inches of snow, maybe closer to 12. And then for those of you at 4,000, I mentioned Arnold, Upper Pioneer, Pollock Pines, 8 inches of snow. But again, keep in mind you start with rain and it switches over. And then for 3,500 feet, I do think there's going to be some snow down to 3,500, but it might be 2 to 3, 2 to 4, something like that. And below 3,500, I don't think we're going to see any snow, at least none that sticks or causes us any issues. So those are the numbers we're working on in terms of snow right now. But there will be impactful snow through the Sierra during the day on Tuesday and into the day on Wednesday. I did want to talk a little bit more about the wind. So I'm going to show you the NAM nest here, and this will show you as the main front goes through on Tuesday what sort of wind gusts we see. So this is Tuesday around mid to late morning. These areas in red show wind gusts around 40, 42 miles an hour, something like that. So I don't expect we're going to see anything howling. Of course, it'll be much stronger along the crest of the Sierra. Winds there gusting over 50. But yeah, you'll see where the low is up here. That's where you see some of the strongest winds. So I think we'll briefly see some winds gusting up to maybe 40 miles an hour, something like that, and that would be Tuesday morning. I want to pick it up here on Wednesday night. By then, the low is farther to the south. I've switched over to the GFS, by the way. And while it shows some stuff in here, I think we're generally going to be dry Thursday, Friday, and into the beginning of the weekend. However, Saturday looks like there's going to be a weak wave that goes through. We are including the chance of some showers on Saturday. I don't think it's going to be enough to cancel plans over. I think there may be some light showers and some light snow on Saturday night. And then on Monday, it looks as though there's another system that comes our way. A cold but relatively dry system could give us another few inches of snow. So we're not quite done with this just yet. And by that, I mean, even though we're going to be changing the month to the month of April here next weekend, it's still the temperatures are going to still stay cool. We're rounding out the month of March, which is going to be very cool, probably something on the average of about 5 degrees colder than average, which is pretty big, at least the coldest we've had since 2006. And it looks as though that pattern is going to continue into the early part of April with more chances of rain and more chances of snow. And while maybe we're not going to see an inch of rain or something like that, we'll continue to see snow that'll be impacting travel. One other thing I should point out is that while we're going to see some pretty good rain in the valley on Tuesday, Wednesday, the amounts should be around an inch combined over the 2 days, maybe a little bit less. And I don't expect we'll see any problems on our area streams, creeks, or rivers. The Cosumnes River will be just fine. So we have a lot of things to keep up with over the next couple of days. I'll have the next YouTube briefing on Monday morning. The usual morning briefing will be back, and I'll have the latest models then. But that should give you an idea of what to expect this week. So have a good night, make it a great night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.